The bankruptcy notice sat on my kitchen table like a death sentence. March 2014. I was 28 years old, staring at numbers that didn't make sense anymore. My construction business had collapsed after our biggest client filed Chapter 11, leaving me holding $60,000 in unpaid invoices and a stack of bills I couldn't pay. My twins, Ignacio and Jan, were 3 years old, asleep upstairs, completely unaware their world was crumbling. Deontay, we need to talk. My wife Laura stood in the doorway, her sister Audra behind her like backup. The look on her face told me everything. This wasn't a conversation. This was an execution. I can fix this, I said, hating how desperate I sounded. The lawyer said we can restructure. Fix it. Audra laughed, that sharp sound I'd always hated. Boy, you're drowning. Laura deserves better than this poverty life you're dragging her into. Laura wouldn't meet my eyes. I can't do this anymore, Deontay. My family offered me a place. A fresh start. Without all this mess. Mess? Our life is a mess. My voice cracked. We have 2 children, Laura. 2 babies upstairs who need their mother. They'll understand when they're older. She was already backing toward the door. My lawyer will contact you about custody arrangements. I remember thinking she'd come back. That she'd realize family meant fighting together, not running when things got hard. I watched her walk out with one suitcase, Audra's arm around her shoulder like she'd rescued her from a burning building. The door clicked shut. That sound still echoes in my nightmares. The eviction notice came 3 weeks later. I sat on the floor of our empty apartment. Laura had taken the furniture too, said it was her family's contribution to the marriage, feeding my twins cereal for dinner because it was all I could afford. Ignacio looked at me with those big brown eyes. Where's Mama? She'll call soon, buddy. Lies tasted like ash in my mouth. My phone buzzed. Laura's lawyer. Child support, $1,800 monthly. I made $300 last week doing day labor. The math didn't work. Nothing worked. My brother Omar found us sleeping in my car outside a Planet Fitness 2 days later. Man, what the hell? He pulled me into a hug while I tried not to break down. Why didn't you call me? Pride, I guess. Stupidity. I gestured to my sleeping kids in the backseat. I've got nothing, negative nothing. Omar helped me move into his basement apartment in Detroit. 1 room, 1 bathroom, 3 people. He worked nights at the Ford plant. I took whatever construction jobs I could find, and Mrs. Simmons from upstairs watched the twins for $20 a week and leftover groceries. She was 72 and treated my babies like her own grandchildren. I'll never forget her kindness. Laura called once. My lawyer says you're not paying support. I'm trying, Laura. I'm working 3 jobs. That's not my problem anymore, Deontay. Get your life together. Click. That night, I made a promise to my reflection in Omar's bathroom mirror. I would rise from this. Whatever it took. 6 months of sleeping 4 hours a night. Day labor from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Online coding courses from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Twins from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. More coding until midnight. Repeat. My body screamed. My mind felt like static. But I'd found something in those free programming tutorials. I was good at it. Really good. Daddy, you're always on the computer, Jan said one night, crawling into my lap. She was 4 now, speaking in full sentences, growing up without her mother. I'm building us a better life, baby girl. You trust Daddy. She nodded, her little fingers touching the screen. What's this? It's called code. It's like magic, but for computers. I showed her how changing 1 line made the whole program work differently. Her eyes lit up. That moment crystallized everything. I wasn't just doing this for survival anymore. Omar noticed the change. You're different, man. Focused. I figured something out, I told him. Those rich companies that destroyed my construction business, they all need software. They all need websites. And they pay people like me pennies because they don't know any better. I showed him the freelance job I'd just finished. $400 for 3 hours of work. This is my way out, Jay. This is how I take care of my kids. Laura's family had a reunion that summer. Her mother called, the first contact in 8 months. The children should be here. It's important for family. I wasn't invited, I said carefully. Well, obviously. But the children live with me full-time because their mother left. If Laura wants to see them, she knows where we are. I hung up, hands shaking with rage. December 2015. My freelance work had grown steadily. I'd made $32,000 that year, poverty wages, but triple what I'd made in construction my last year. Ignacio and Jan had a small Christmas. Not much, but we had our own apartment now. 2 bedrooms in southwest Detroit. The twins decorated it with drawings, turning blank walls into galleries of stick figures and crooked houses. This one's our family, Ignacio explained, pointing to 3 figures holding hands. You, me, and January. I noticed what was missing. Or rather, who? You're a great artist, buddy. My biggest client, a manufacturing company called Prestige Industries, had hired me to redesign their entire inventory system. The project manager, Andre Bailey, was impressed. You're self-taught? Man, that's wild. You got the instinct for this. Most of these code monkeys from fancy schools can't think outside the algorithm. Necessity breeds innovation, I said, repeating something I'd read. Listen, we're expanding. I'm recommending they bring you on full-time. $65,000 to start. Benefits. The whole package. I nearly cried in that conference room. Yes. Absolutely yes. Laura called that night. First time in 4 months. I heard through the grapevine you got some corporate job. Word travels fast. The twins doing okay? They'd love to hear from you directly, I said, holding the phone toward where they were playing. She'd hung up before I finished the sentence. Jan looked at me, understanding more than a 5-year-old should. It's okay, Daddy. We don't need her. But I heard her crying in her bedroom later. 3 years at Prestige Industries taught me everything. Not just coding, though I mastered that, but business. How companies worked. How they wasted money on inefficient systems. How they desperately needed solutions but didn't know how to build them. I watched the executives, studied their decisions, learned what made companies succeed or fail. Andre became my mentor. You see what I see, Deontay? These fools paying 6 figures for software that breaks every other week. You could build better in your sleep. I've been thinking about that. I'd been doing more than thinking. I'd been planning. Saving every extra dollar. Building prototypes on weekends while the twins did homework at the kitchen table. I want to start my own company. Build software specifically for mid-size manufacturers. Stuff that actually works. You're crazy. Andre grinned. I love it. Count me in. TechBridge Solutions launched in January 2019. Me, Andre, and 2 developers I'd met in online forums. We worked out of Omar's garage. He'd bought a house by then, union benefits paying off. Our first client was a small parts manufacturer in Dearborn. $20,000 for a custom inventory system. We delivered in 6 weeks, under budget, exceeding every specification. How'd you do this? The owner asked. The last company took 6 months and it still doesn't work right. We actually listen, I told him. And we build solutions, not sales pitches. Word spread. Manufacturing is a tight community. By June, we had 12 clients. By December, 28. Revenue, $800,000. My share after expenses, $215,000. I'd made more in 1 year than my parents made in 5. The twins were 10. Growing up strong, smart, resilient. They'd never met their mother's family. Laura sent birthday cards sometimes. Always with the same message, love, Mom. No phone calls. No visits. Just cards with $20 inside like they were distant nieces. March 2023. The phone call that changed everything. Mr. Richardson? This is Catherine Walsh from Meridian Holdings. We're interested in discussing an acquisition of TechBridge Solutions. Meridian Holdings. I knew the name. They own 43 companies across 6 states, including, I felt my heart stop, including the manufacturing firm that had bankrupted me 9 years ago. The one that started this whole nightmare. I'm listening, I said calmly, though my pulse was racing. The offer was substantial. $12 million for full acquisition. I'd retain a management position, salary of $250,000 annually, plus benefits and equity. Andre and my team would be absorbed into their structure. We're particularly impressed with your employee management software, Catherine continued. We want to roll it out across all Meridian properties. You'd oversee implementation as Chief Technology Officer. CTO of Meridian Holdings. Access to all 43 companies, including the ones that destroyed me. The irony was so sharp it could cut glass. I'll need to review the full proposal, I said. But I'm interested. Andre was skeptical. Corporate life again? We're independent now, man. We're winning. We're winning battles, I corrected. This is winning the war. Trust me. The contracts took 3 months to finalize. July 2023, we signed. I was officially CTO of Meridian Holdings, overseeing technology for a corporate empire worth $300 million. My first official act, requesting access to all employee files across the organization to assess technology training needs. HR sent me a list of 1,847 employees. I ran my eyes down alphabetically, not expecting anything. Then I saw it. Bailey, Audra, Marketing Director, Meridian Manufacturing Division, Detroit. My hands went numb. I sat in my new corner office, looking at Audra's employee file on my screen. She'd been with Meridian for 6 years. Started as a coordinator, worked her way up. Salary, $98,000 annually. Good benefits. Performance reviews ranged from adequate to meets expectations. Nothing special. Just another corporate climber. But she wasn't alone. I kept scrolling through the employee database, and names kept appearing like ghosts from a past I tried to bury. Bailey, Laura, Human Resources Specialist, Meridian Manufacturing Division, Detroit. $72,000 annually. Hired 4 years ago. Recommended by, of course, her sister Audra. My ex-wife worked for me now. Technically, the realization sent something cold through my veins. Not quite anger. Not quite satisfaction. Something harder. Something patient. I kept digging. The family tree extended further than I'd imagined. Coleman, Bernice, Laura's mother. Accounts receivable, Meridian Manufacturing. $58,000 annually. Brooks, Michael, Laura's cousin. Warehouse supervisor. $63,000 annually. Bailey, Martin, Audra's husband. Operations manager. $104,000 annually. 5 people. All connected. All working at the Detroit facility. The same facility I'd be visiting next week for my technology infrastructure assessment tour. The universe has a sense of humor. You look like you've seen a ghost, Andre said, walking into my office. More like 5 ghosts. I showed him the list. His eyes widened. Deontay, man, what are you going to do? My job, I said simply. I'm going to assess our technology needs, implement better systems, and ensure this company runs efficiently. That's it. I smiled. It probably wasn't a kind smile. That's everything. The Meridian manufacturing facility in Detroit was exactly what I expected. Outdated equipment, inefficient processes, people coasting on autopilot. I walked through with Catherine Walsh and the facility director, Ignacio Bennett, no relation to my son, but I'd started noticing every coincidence. Our biggest challenge is interdepartmental communication, Ignacio explained. HR doesn't talk to operations. Operations doesn't talk to accounting. Everyone's using different systems that don't integrate. Classic siloed infrastructure, I noted, typing into my tablet. How long has this been the operational standard? About 8 years. Since the restructure after we acquired Thompson Manufacturing. Thompson Manufacturing. The company that went bankrupt and took me down with it. I'd been studying the history. Meridian had bought them for pennies, absorbed their contracts, kept their clients. Smart business. Brutal business. The kind of business I understood now. We walked into the HR department. Laura sat at her desk, head down, reviewing paperwork. She hadn't seen me yet. I let the moment stretch, watching her in her element. Professional clothes, neat desk, photos of, I squinted, photos of my children on her desk. From where? Birthday cards? School photos I'd sent her mother years ago? Laura, this is Deontay Richardson, our new CTO, Catherine said. Laura's head snapped up. The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. Deontay. Ms. Bailey. I kept my voice neutral, professional. Good to meet you. I'll need access to all HR systems for the technology audit. Can you facilitate that? She stood shakily. Yes. Of course. I can. When do you need? By Friday. Full access credentials. All documentation. Send it to my office. I turned to Catherine. Shall we continue the tour? Behind me, I heard Laura sink back into her chair. Someone asked if she was okay. I didn't look back. The email came at 2:47 a.m. From Audra, subject line, we need to talk. Deontay, I know you probably hate us, but this is Laura's livelihood. Her career. Please don't punish her for mistakes from 10 years ago. We were young. We didn't understand what you were going through. Can we meet to discuss this like adults? I read it 3 times, analyzing every word. Mistakes from 10 years ago. Like abandoning your husband and children during bankruptcy was equivalent to forgetting someone's birthday. Like sleeping in my car with 2 toddlers was just a little misunderstanding that time would heal. I didn't respond. Instead, I continued my audit. The technology assessment revealed what I'd suspected. The Detroit facility was hemorrhaging money through inefficiency. Outdated inventory systems leading to overstock and understock. Communication breakdowns causing shipping delays. Security vulnerabilities in their data management. The list went on for 47 pages. My recommendation report was thorough, professional, and devastating. Facility requires complete technological overhaul. Estimated timeline, 18 months. Estimated cost, $4.2 million. Recommend consolidation of redundant positions during implementation phase. Projected efficiency gain, 38%. Projected workforce reduction, 22%. 22%. Approximately 78 positions. HR would handle the determinations based on performance reviews, seniority, and departmental needs. I wouldn't choose who got cut. That would be inappropriate. I just provided the numbers that made cuts necessary. Laura called me directly. First time I'd heard her voice without a lawyer or voicemail in between in almost a decade. Deontay, please. We need to talk about this. Those are people's lives. I'm aware, I said calmly. I was once one of those people whose life got disrupted by corporate decisions. I survived. Don't do this. Not like this. If you want to hurt me, hurt me. Don't hurt everyone else. Ms. Bailey, this is a business decision based on operational efficiency. Your facility is underperforming across every metric. My job is to fix that. If you're worried about your position, I suggest you speak with your department head about your value proposition. I paused. Like I said, I survived. I'm sure you will too. I hung up before she could respond. The twins were 16 now. Ignacio, tall and lean like me, wanted to study engineering. Jan, sharp and fierce, talked about law school. They knew about their mother in abstract terms, the woman who left when they were little, who sent cards but never visited. "Dad, there's a woman at the door," Ignacio called out. "Says she's our mom." I walked to the front door of my house, 4 bedrooms in Palmer Woods, the neighborhood I dreamed about when I was sleeping in my car, and found Laura standing on my porch. She'd aged. Stress lines around her eyes, grey threading through her hair despite being only 38. Behind her, Audra stood looking uncomfortable. "What do you want, Laura?" "To talk. Please. Can we come in?" Jan appeared beside me. "Who are they?" Laura's face crumpled. "Jan? Baby, you're so grown." "I asked who they are," Jan repeated, her voice cold. "My daughter. So fierce. I'm your mother, sweetie. I know it's been a long time." 13 years, Ignacio said, joining us. He'd been counting. "Since you left." Laura looked at me desperately. "Deontay, please. Don't turn them against me." "I didn't have to turn them against anything. You did that yourself." I looked at my children. "You two want to hear what she has to say?" They exchanged glances. Jan shook her head. "Not really. We have homework." They left. Simple as that. 13 years of absence summed up in "not really" and homework. Laura started crying. Audra put an arm around her. "You've poisoned them against me," Laura sobbed. "I told them the truth. That you left when things got hard. That you chose yourself over them. That you paid court-ordered support irregularly and showed up 0 times to birthdays, school events, or hospital visits." I kept my voice level. "Those are facts, Laura. Not poison. Facts. I was young. I was scared. My family said you'd never amount to anything, and I believed them. And they were wrong," I said simply. "Turns out I amounted to quite a bit. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a conference call." HR sent me the preliminary termination list. Per policy, it was based on performance reviews, attendance records, and position redundancy. The algorithm didn't care about names or connections. Just numbers and efficiency. Bailey, Audra, recommended for termination. Performance reviews, adequate. Position, redundant with consolidated marketing department. Bailey, Laura, recommended for termination. Performance reviews, meets expectations. Position, redundant with centralized HR system implementation. Coleman, Bernice, recommended for retention. Strong performance, specialized knowledge. Brooks, Michael, recommended for termination. Multiple attendance violations, supervisory issues. Bailey, Martin, recommended for retention. Critical operational knowledge, strong leadership metrics. I stared at the list. This was it. The moment I'd fantasized about in my car, in Omar's basement, during those endless nights of coding. The people who'd called me worthless, who'd convinced my wife to abandon me, who'd watched me suffer and did nothing, they were vulnerable now. I could recommend their terminations. Bump them up the list. Nobody would question the CTO's operational judgment. My cursor hovered over Audra's file. 1 click. 1 note about strategic redundancy or efficiency optimization. That's all it would take. I thought about Ignacio and January. About the man I'd become. About whether revenge made me strong or just made me like the people who'd hurt me. I thought about Mrs. Simmons, who'd watched my babies for $20 a week. About Omar, who'd given me shelter when I had nothing. About Andre, who'd believed in me when I was just a freelancer with big dreams. Then I thought about sleeping in my car. About my children asking where their mother went. About Laura's voice, "That's not my problem anymore, Deontay." I made my decision. The termination meetings were scheduled for Monday morning. Standard corporate procedure, individual meetings, HR present, 2-week severance, continuation of benefits for 60 days. Clean. Professional. Brutal. I requested to attend the meetings for the Detroit facility staff. Catherine raised an eyebrow. "That's unusual for your position level, Deontay." I believe in being present for difficult decisions, I said. These people deserve to hear from leadership directly. Audra came in first. She looked smaller than I remembered. Tired. The woman who'd laughed at my poverty, who'd called my life a mess, sat across from me in a generic conference room, her career in my hands. Audra Bailey, thank you for meeting with us, the HR director began. We're restructuring the marketing department and unfortunately your position has been eliminated. She looked at me. Deontay, please. I have a mortgage. My daughter's starting college. I'm sorry, I said. Business is business. I let that hang in the air. Let her hear her own family's words reflected back. I apologize, she whispered. For everything. For what we said to you, for how we treated you. Your apology is noted. I kept my voice neutral. You'll receive 2-week severance and benefits continuation. HR will work with you on transition planning. Laura's meeting was harder. She couldn't stop crying. This is revenge. Pure revenge. This is business, I corrected. The same business that destroyed me in 2014. The same business you told me I needed to get together. The same business that put my children at risk while you walked away. I leaned forward. I learned from the best teachers, Laura. Companies like this one. People like your family. You taught me that when things get tough, you protect yourself. So that's what I'm doing. Protecting my company. My investment. My future. What about our children? She sobbed. They're taken care of. They always have been. By me. I stood up. You'll receive your severance package within 30 days. Good luck with your next opportunity. I walked out while she was still crying. Months later, I sat in my home office, reviewing quarterly reports. TechBridge integration across Meridian Holdings was ahead of schedule. Efficiency was up 31%. Profits were climbing. My bonus would be substantial. Ignacio knocked on my door. Dad, you got a minute? Always. What's up? He sat down, looking serious. 17 now, practically a man. Mom called me. Asked if I'd meet her for coffee. My stomach tightened. What did you say? I said I'd think about it. He looked at me carefully. Would that be okay? I'm not saying I forgive her or anything. I don't know. Maybe I need to hear her out? For me, not for her. I thought about revenge. About anger. About the cycle of hurt and whether I wanted my children trapped in it. Ignacio, your mother made choices that hurt us badly. But she's still your mother. If you want to hear what she has to say, that's your decision. I'll support whatever you choose. You're not mad. I'm protective. There's a difference. I pulled him into a hug. You and Jan are the best things that ever happened to me. Nothing she did could change that. And nothing you do will make me love you less. Even if that includes giving her a chance. He nodded, relieved. Thanks, Dad. After he left, I looked at the framed photo on my desk. Me and the twins at Ignacio's football game last month. Jan had just won her debate competition. Both of them thriving despite everything. My phone buzzed. Email from Catherine, board meeting Tuesday. They want to discuss expanding your role to EVP of Technology and Operations. Congratulations, Deontay. Well deserved. I thought about Audra and Laura, job hunting in a tight market. About Michael Brooks scrambling to pay his bills. About the fear I'd seen in their eyes when they realized the broke man they'd pitied now controlled their futures. Had I become the villain? Or had I just learned to play the game that nearly killed me? The truth was probably somewhere in between. I'd chosen mercy where I could have chosen vengeance. I'd let the system do what the system does, without putting my thumb on the scale. They'd lost their jobs because they weren't valuable enough to keep, the same judgment I'd faced when my business collapsed. The difference? I'd rebuilt. I'd learned. I'd grown. They'd just coasted on false superiority until reality caught up. My children were calling me for dinner. I closed my laptop. Tomorrow I'd think about EVP positions and corporate strategy. Tonight, I'd have spaghetti with my kids and be grateful for the long, brutal journey that led us here. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's just becoming so successful that the people who hurt you become irrelevant. They weren't worth my anger anymore. They weren't worth anything at all. I'd won. And that was enough. Comment loyalty over blood if you believe family means showing up, not just sharing DNA. Let's hear it from everyone who understands real commitment.